the solution for humanity.
From this day on, forever be true. Cherish this life that's destined for you. Live your life with kindness and care. Remember, Allah will always be there, be there. Nikahun mubarakun, mubarakun. Zawajun mubarakun, mubarakun. An-nikahu min sunnati.
Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam. Ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Hunna libasul lakum wa antum libasul lahunna. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I welcome all of you with Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace, mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on all of you. Today we are going to have a special session by the name Better Half or Bitter Half. And you're most welcome to ask any questions related to marriage, to nikah, regarding how to choose a life partner, how to conduct a nikah, what are the pros and the cons, about married life, the problems, the good things, the do's, the don'ts, the halals, the harams. You're most welcome to ask any questions regarding before you say I do, or before you say Kabul hai, or before you say I accept it, as well as after you say I do, or Kabul hai, or after you say I accept it. You're most welcome to ask any questions so that you get the best life partner, so that you can decide whether the relationship you're going into, whether it's a wedlock or a padlock. So brothers and sisters, you're most welcome to ask any questions on the topic of marriage.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I wanted to ask if a Muslim can get married to a virtuous non-Muslim.
Sister asked the question that can a Muslim get married to a virtuous non-Muslim? First, you need to understand what is the definition of virtue and what is the definition of non-Muslim. The most important factor of virtue is it is tawheed, believing in oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, as far as the complete definition of virtue is concerned, the most important factor is tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If a person really believes in tawheed and oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but naturally he has to be a Muslim. So the question of a non-Muslim being virtuous in the Islamic terminology is not correct. Because the most important criteria for virtue, it is tawheed, it's oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as a general question, can a Muslim marry a non-Muslim? The reply is given in the Quran in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 221, where the Creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that do not marry a mushrikah until she believes. Do not marry an idolatress until she believes. And a believing woman, a mu'minah, even if she's a bondswoman, even if she's a slave girl, she's far superior than a mushrikah, than an idolatress, even if she allows you. That means according to the Quran, a Muslim woman, even if she's a bondswoman, even if she is poor or ugly, is far superior than a mushrikah, than idolatress, even if she allows you. She may be the most beautiful woman in the world, she may be the richest woman in the world, but a woman is far superior to a mushrikah. Similarly, the verse continues that don't let a Muslim woman, a Muslimah, should not marry a mushrik, should not marry an idolater until he believes. A believing man who is a bondsman, who is a slave man, who is a servant, is far superior than a mushrik even if he allows you. He may be the most handsome man in the world. He may be the most richest man in the world. He may be Richard Gere. He may be the king. But a mu'min, a believing man who has iman, is far superior than a mushrik, than an idolater. So based on this verse of the Quran, a Muslim or a Muslimah is prohibited to marry a mushrikah or a mushrik. So in this context, a Muslim woman or Muslim man cannot marry a mushrik or non-Muslim, in short. Hope that answers the question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
What
assalam.
should the wife do if the husband prevents her from doing Islamic activities like Islah and Dawah?
If a husband prevents a wife from doing Islamic activities like Dawah, Islah, what should be done? First, you should see the reason, try and analyze why the husband doesn't want the wife to do dawah islah, if he is saying that because the household work is left undone, and the wife says that, I want to do dawah, so I'll be away for 10 hours every day, from morning till evening, and I'll not look after the children, I'll look after the house, then he has a valid reason. But as long as the wife takes care of all the responsibilities, a basic faraiz, that is looking after the house, looking after the children, taking care of the basic needs of the husband, and then she goes for Islamic activities without causing loss to the household activities, then I feel the husband should not prevent. So then it is the duty of the wife to convince the husband that, if she goes, it will be better for her and better for the family and better for him also, so that it will be beneficial for them in the akhirah. So then it is the duty of the wife to convince the husband that it is fard on every Muslim to convey the message of Islam. As Allah says in the Quran in Surah Al-Imran, chapter number 3, verse number 110, كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ تَأْمِرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. Allah says, ye Muslims, ye are the best of peoples evolved for mankind, enjoining what is good and forbidding what is wrong and believing in Allah. Allah is calling us the Khaira Ummah because we enjoin what is good and forbid what is wrong. If we do not enjoin what is good and do not forbid what is wrong, we aren't fit to be called as Khaira Ummah. We aren't fit to be called as Muslims. It is fard on every Muslim to convey the message of Islam to others. The same message is repeated in Surah Al-Asr, chapter number 103, verse number 1 to 3, where Allah says, Wal Asr, Innal insana lafi khusr, illa alladhina amanu, wa amilu salihati, wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. That by the token of time, man is verily in a state of loss, except those who have faith, those who have righteous deeds, those who exhort people to truth, that is dawah and islah, and those who exhort people to patience and perseverance. So one of the 4 criteria for a person to go to Jannah is that he or she should do dawah and islah. If they do not do under normal circumstances, according to Surah Al-Asr, they shall not enter Jannah. So I feel it is the duty of the wife to convince the husband that he too should involve in dawah activities, islah activities. If not a full-time da'i, at least a part-time da'i when he comes back from office, or at least during the weekends, during the holidays. And it is the duty of the wife that with hikmah, she should convince the husband, and she too should ask him to get involved. Because if both are involved in the activity, it's easier for them to understand each other's difficulty. So she should inspire him that he should involve in dawah activities, and see to it that she provides him with cassettes and lectures and books which will inspire him too to be involved in the activity. Hope that answers the question, sister.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Can a girl marry a boy without her father's consent?
The question that can a girl marry a boy without the father's consent? Taking the father's consent is very important. But if the girl has valid reason that the father is choosing for her a life partner which is not appropriate for her, who is not virtuous, and then if she resists, it is permissible. Because there's a hadith of a beloved Prophet Muhammad mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, volume number 7, in the book of Nikah, chapter number 69, hadith number 642, that a lady by the name of Khansa bint Khadim al-Ansariya, she approached the Prophet and she said that my father has married me to a person who I do not like. So the Prophet nullified the marriage. That means the willingness of the girl is also very important, especially when you know that the father is choosing a life partner which she feels is not appropriate, is not on lines of Quran and Sunnah. So in this case, as a resort, she can object if she feels that the boy the father is asking to marry is not virtuous, and the boy she has in preference is more virtuous. Hope that answers the question.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brother, my question is, what is a nikahnama and what are its contents?
Sister has the question that what is a nikahnama and what are its contents. As I mentioned earlier, nikah means a marital contract. It's a sacred covenant between the would-be husband and wife. And while a girl and a boy get married, they're permitted to lay down any conditions as long as it is within the purview of the Islamic Sharia. They can lay down any condition as long as it is not prohibited in the Quran or the Sunnah. It doesn't go against the principles of Quran and Sunnah. For example, marrying more than one wife is optional. So the would-be wife can put a condition saying that I do not mind marrying you as long as you do not take a second wife as long as I'm alive. Since marrying more than one woman is not fard, it's optional, she can put a condition that she does not want the husband to take any other woman as wife as long as she's alive. It's permitted. But she cannot say that I do not want my husband to offer salah, because offering the salah is fard. She cannot put a condition that I want my husband to drink alcohol, because drinking alcohol is haram. Similarly, the husband can put conditions on the wife that he can say that I want you to look after my mother who's sick, because it's optional. So in these way, both can put conditions which are optional, but cannot force anyone else to do something which is haram, and cannot prevent anyone from doing something which is fard. So this nikah content can be depending upon the choice of the would-be husband and wife, as long as it does not go against the Islamic Sharia. Hope that answers the question. Inshallah, we'll take the next question after a short break.
نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك
ولقد يسرنا القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر.
And we have indeed made the Quran easy to understand and remember. Then is there any that will receive admonition? Learn the language of the Creator's last testament in Learning Quranic Arabic every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday at 6 p.m. Saudi Arabia and 7 p.m. UAE on Peace TV.
Tawheed is our way to salvation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created jinn and mankind except to worship me. Also Allah says, verily we have sent into every nation a messenger proclaiming worship Allah and shun false deities. To know more about Tawheed, join me, Salim Al-Amiri, only on Peace TV.
Join the institution advocating the oneness of Allah. Join Salim Al-Amri in Kitab al-Tawheed. Next on Peace TV.
نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the program, Better Half or Better Half. And we'll continue with the question answer session on marriage. Any of the sisters have any question?
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Zakir.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is, why it is said in the hadith that sujood may be allowed to the husband when it is only exclusively for Allah?
Sister asked the question that sujood may be allowed to the husband even though it's exclusive for Allah. I mean, sister, hadith you're quoting is wrong. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that if sajda would be allowed to anyone besides Allah, then I would have asked you to prostrate to do sajda to your husband. That is right hadith. What you're saying is totally, it's not permitted. The hadith of Muhammad ﷺ is that Prophet said that if sajda would have been permitted to anyone besides Allah, then the Prophet said, I would have asked you to do sajda to your husband. Now, this hadith does not mean in any way the Prophet is asking the woman or the ladies to equate the husband with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is shirk. But it is only telling you what is the importance of your husband. For example, Allah used these type of words even in the Quran. Allah says in the Quran that if Allah has begotten a son, tell them, those people who say that Allah has begotten a son, tell them that if Allah has begotten a son, I would be the first person to bow down to him. That doesn't mean that Allah has a son and you should bow down. The question of Allah having a son does not arise only. So there's no question of bowing down. If Allah has a son, I would have been the first person to bow down. Similarly, bowing to anyone besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not exist. And but natural, this is just an analogy, a statement, an idiom to show the importance of the husband as far as the wife is concerned. He's very important. It doesn't even mean that after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the next person of importance has been. No. As a Muslim, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to love the Prophet. And the hadith says that if you do not love Allah and the Messenger of Allah more than your own life, then you cannot be a true mu'min. So, but naturally, after loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes the love of the Prophet. But this statement that if sajda was permitted, if prostration was permitted, to when we said, Allah, I would have asked you to prostrate to your husband, shows the importance of the husband for the wife. That means you have to obey him, you have to love him, you have to respect him, you have to take care of him. As long as he does not go against the commandment of Allah and His Rasul, you have to obey him and follow him. This is just a way of expression, how it is said. And same way, there are hadith on the vice versa, that the best mu'min is a person who's best to his family, especially the wife. So it's a two-way traffic, it's not a one-way traffic. Hope that answers the question. Any of the sisters have any question?
Brother, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brother, what should the wife do if the husband commits a major sin like adultery, drinks alcohol, etc.?
If the husband is involved in major sins like adultery, having intoxication, having alcohol, she should be a good muhsana, that's the fortress against the devil, and prevent the husband from continuing with that major sin. So she should be instrumental in trying to stop the husband from continuing the adultery or continuing doing the major sin like having alcohol. So she should try her level best and first try and find out that why did he get involved in this major sin of drinking alcohol? Does he have bad company? You should see to it that you request him to change his company, change his friends, and see to it that he comes out of this evil sin. Similarly, if the husband is involved in adultery, you try and find out what is the reason that he got involved. Again, can be bad company, can be involvement in certain activities. So it's the duty of the wife to see to it that she becomes his muhsana, his fortress against the devil, and try the level best to try and get the husband out of the sin. If the situation continues, so then depending how well the wife is able to convince the husband, then she has to take a decision that what is it a point of no return. Then she takes the decision that should she continue with the husband who she has tried to get him out of the sin. Maybe you've tried for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Or you say, okay, fine, that the other aspects of the husband is really very good. He's very good, everything else is fine. Only this one point, only has alcohol. Everything else is excellent and very good. Fine, I don't mind compromising. Yet you continue trying to see to it that he comes out of alcohol. So that's the decision that is taken by the wife. And how well is she able to convince the husband to come out. But she should never give up and try and continue till the last moment, till she convinces him. Hope that answers the questions. Any other sisters have any questions?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please, could you explain what is the procedure of divorce?
This is a question that what is the correct procedure for divorce? Divorce is talaq that's prevalent in our society, in our culture, is of different types. There's one procedure that, the husband just says, talaq, 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 and the divorce takes place. This is called as talaq-i-bidah. It is not proven from Quran and Sahih Hadith. The other type of divorce which is prevalent in the society, in the Muslim society, is that the husband gives divorce, waits for one menstrual cycle, again repeats the divorce, waits for one menstrual cycle, then again give a divorce. This is called a talaq-i-hasan. That's a good talaq. But the right talaq is talaq-i-hasan, the best type of talaq, as is described in the Quran and the Sahih Hadith. And there are various verses in the Quran dealing with talaq. Mentioned in Surah Talaq, chapter 65, verse number 2 to 7. It's given in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 228 to 242, the details of talaq. Normally, whenever any disagreement takes place between the husband and wife, they should initially try and sort it out themselves. Suppose, the wife put extra salt in the food and the husband does not like it. He shouldn't say talaq, talaq, talaq. If he doesn't like extra salt, you should tell the wife, don't put extra salt, and the problem is solved. The best is to have a sitting, sort it out. That's the best. If the problem between them cannot be sorted out, then the Quran says in Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 35, that appoint an arbiter from the husband's side and appoint an arbiter from the wife's side. Let there be a family gathering, have an arbiter from the husband's side, an arbiter from the wife's side, sit together and try and explain, always marriage is a delicate issue and there are ups and downs in married life. They should sort it out and try and find a solution. Yet, if all the things have been tried, the husband and wife have got together, they have had a family gathering, they have appointed an arbiter, and yet the matter is not solved, then as a last resort, then divorce can be pronounced. While pronouncing a divorce, it is important that the husband, when he pronounces the divorce, says talaq, there should be two witnesses. And once he says talaq, as the Quran says in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 228, that after the divorce is given, there should be an iddah period of 3 menstrual cycle, or 3 months. So once the divorce is pronounced, the iddah is a waiting period. I call it the prelims. It's interim period, where for 3 months, the husband and wife, they live in the same condition, but they do not have relationship. It is like a prelims or a trial, that can they be without each other? You realize after 2 weeks, I was a fool, simply I said divorce. It was such a small matter that, she's not ironing my clothes properly, and now I'm a bigger problem. So maybe they can again do ruju. They can again conciliate with one another. So there is a waiting period of 3 months. And in these 3 months, if the husband and wife reconcile, if they do ruju, then that means they yet continue to be husband and wife. If after 3 menstrual periods have passed away, and yet if they insist that they want to part, they can part in an equitable terms. They should not do mudslinging with each other, should not try and blame each other, should not wash their dirty linen in public. Amicably, with respect, they should part. And the Quran says in Surah Baqarah chapter 2, verse number 229, that the husband should not take back the gifts which he is given. It's preferable that he gives it to her. And if they part, suppose after 2 years, the husband realizes that I made a mistake, then again he can marry the same lady. Because Quran says in Surah Baqarah chapter 2, verse number 232, that do not prevent the women from marrying their former husbands. That means people have misconception that once you get divorced, that's not possible to marry again. And they start saying, okay, we can do halala. You know halala? Halala means trying to get someone to marry the wife so that she becomes legitimate. This is totally not permitted in Islam. In Islamic principle, if you read the Quran, the same man and woman can get married even after first divorce has been given, after the iddah period is complete, but they should remarry with a new nikah and a new meher. Again, if they remarry and something wrong takes place, again the same procedure, have consultation with husband and wife, appoint arbiter, then give divorce, have 2 witnesses, then part. Again, if they want to reconcile maybe after 2 years, again they can reconcile, but new nikah, new meher. Again, if they have a problem, again they can part, but at this moment, it is the last. Quran says in Surah Baqarah chapter 2, verse number 229, that divorce is only permissible twice. The third time, it is irrevocable. Means the first 2 divorces you give can be revocable, but the third divorce is irrevocable. It cannot be undone. Unless the wife marries another man and consummates the marriage. So now people have come up with this concept of halala, that fine, if I've given divorce, talaq in one shot, and then I repent, so he lets his wife sleep with another man, and then after one night, then they give divorce, and they marry and consummate the marriage, then after one night, they give the divorce, and again remarry. This is totally haram. It's totally haram. Islam prohibits it. You cannot do this, you cannot plan it. What it says, that if the husband and wife marry, and again they divorce, again they marry, this marriage is not gudda guddi ka khel. It's not, a doll marriage, where you're marrying, 2 dolls together, and then break it, and again want to reconcile, again want to break it. So if you give divorce thrice, it is final, irrevocable. Like I remember young days, my mother used to say, that bahar jayenge to dal aate ka bhav malum padega, dal aate ka. I wonder what is dal aate. It is dal and atta. When you go out, you'll come to know the price of dal and flour. When I was a kid, I thought, what dal aate ka? Maybe it's an idiom, dal aate ka, dal aate ka. Then I came to know what she meant was dal and atta. When you go in the market, you will come to know what is the price of doll and flower. So it's not a gudda guddi ka khel. So now, okay, now enough. Enough of marrying and reconciliation, finish. Now you marry somebody else. And then, if she marries another husband, that lady, and then she realizes I was cribbing. My first husband used to give me 5 hours a day. This new husband does not even give me 2 hours a day. The first one is better. So if she marries a new husband, and then they realize this marriage is not working well, and then if the divorce takes place in a normal procedure, same procedure, mutual consultation, appoint an arbiter, husband-wife side, try and solve the problem. If it's not solved, then give a divorce, wait for 3 menstrual cycles, 3 monthly periods, then part, and then she can marry the first former husband who has given her divorce twice. So this talaq-e-hasan is a talaq which is described in the Quran, the Sahih Hadith. The other two, talaq-e-bida is an innovation, and talaq-e-hasan also. The best is talaq-e-hasan, which I have described, which is on the basis of Quran and Sunnah. Hope that answers the question. This was the last question of this session on better half or better half. Inshallah, we'll meet next time. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.
Forever be true. Cherish this life that's destined for you. Live your life with kindness and care. Remember, Allah will always be there, be there. Nikahun mubarakun, mubarakun. Zawajun mubarakun, mubarakun. An-nikahu min sunnati. ما قال النبي هو الصحيح. نكاح مبارك مبارك. نكاح مبارك مبارك. زواج مبارك مبارك.
Get up.